I'm Angela Nsimbi, a mother, I'm a mentor, I'm an author, I'm a mental health activist, I'm a woman who is passionate about life. I'm a wife to one. I always say that. Yes, and I love to impact in order to transform lives. How did I know that I have a crisis? I remember one particular time I was standing at the sink doing the dishes. I just felt like a force come upon me, and I found myself trying to get to my bedroom so that I don't get embarrassed before the children. It was making me lose control. Of course, at the time, I will not lie that I knew what it was. I didn't know. But as I was trying to make my way to the bedroom, I remember at the time falling in that corridor. And then I saw all my children, of course, when crisis, because I screamed and then they came, they were all looking at me. And I remember the best I could do at that time, I just told my big girl, who was really young, she was 9 at the time, as I told her, call your dad. There was another incident when I also carried the baby at the time. He was only 9 months. She was only 9 months. On my back, I was feeling afraid. I was feeling insecure. And I was talking all the while. They had to force me to be sedated, to take the child off my back. And so at that point going forward, I saw the reaction around with my family members, because people are not comfortable when it's something to do with your mental health. For me, it took a period of 2 years before the doctor told me personally what he was treating. It is bipolar affective disorder. And I remember him telling me, this is something you live with for the rest of your life. But of course, when you go back deeper, all these things are rooted in trauma. You grow up when you are also in a dysfunctional family. You grow up when you're not equipped to handle conflict. And so one thing builds up, one thing leads to another, and eventually you can't take it anymore. At first I used to take 3 types. They eventually, because I kept going in for my reviews, they removed me from 2 kinds of meds. So I remained on the mood stabilizer. And eventually she started to reduce the dosage. It was making me uncomfortable. And I remember telling that to the doctor. So I eventually realized, but can't I manage my mental health outside medication? In terms of how am I helping other people? My first book is this, Breaking Free. And the subtitle is I'm Not Bipolar, A Journey of Hope, Healing and Restoration. So in this book, I simply talk about my life from childhood until that point when I had the breakdown. I actually explain to people the need for us to have strong families. And the time I had a crisis, I didn't know where do you start. In this book, I also write about how I have supported other people. Because first, by writing the book, that already, it's like a real manual you give to the world to read practically what has worked. Because what I write here is tried and tested. It's my life. The mental health guide is something we do every year. And the birth of this, because I thought, where can people with psychosocial disabilities speak and be heard? Where can they speak and not be invisible and, someone pushing you down that, hey, even you can talk. Who are you to talk? Because I realize I appreciate disability inclusion. However, I have noticed that whenever people with psychosocial disabilities, when we enter certain spaces, even where it's disability, especially because, you're not using a crutch, but I see you have all your legs, it's not seen. So because it's not seen, the discrimination is deep. So I said, this is the solution, to make sure the voice of people with psychosocial disabilities is heard. Our strength has also been in support groups. As we do those support groups, families need to be educated to know, how do I support this loved one? And I keep using my story as the testament of what can be done when family stands. Because when you stand with that person, you don't know. Yes, in that time of crisis, they look like probably the most useless person. But you'll be amazed at what support does when you come together and hold that person's hand. They could be the next solution to a generation that is crying for help.